Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I am just one of your hostess with the mostest, a man who has forgotten to pick a fun name for you this week, Clayton Kisco. And I'm accompanied, of course, by the rest of the Maelstrom gamers. On this podcast today, we have with us the bad boy himself, Cop Show's #1 and only fan these days, Steve Landis.
The hammer of justice.
Bad boys, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah.
What's up?
What's up, Steve? Next up, we have a man who's too cool to freeze and too hot to melt. A man who's so gosh darn good looking. If you look at him directly, you'll probably go blind. The heartthrob, Marco Avellino.
Also the world traveler, as I spend this evening talking to you guys from Tennessee.
What are you doing up there?
Just doing a family vacation real quick, just for the weekend. Enjoy ourselves.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Make so much money.
You keep moving. You keep moving. I gotta keep moving the.
I'm gonna stay kind of like right in this vicinity, I guess.
Just lock
But
up.
then he might move over here.
Yeah. And then I'm
he
like,
might move
like,
over
what
here.
are you gonna like? I gotta move your.
Jumping bean, so
Alright.
that happens.
Okay. And last, but certainly not least, a man with the perfect bow, aka Little Funyuns, aka Backdoor,
Backdoor.
the wild card, Ian.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, Little
I'm pretty
Funyuns?
sure that getting me back for what I did.
No, I don't know. I was gonna
AKA
use it
the
with Rocco,
Seattle
but I had
Slanted
like
Stud.
the moment passed, and I was just like, have you guys watched Aziz Ansari's Netflix show?
Yes. What's it called? Like, I can't remember the name.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
why
we
am I
all watched
blinking
it
on
live.
this?
Getting better or something like that. Something better.
Worst man, or
Oh my gosh! I can't.
I can't. It doesn't even matter because
Yeah,
it's an amazing
I think
show. But
it's
there is like this moment where he's like talking to his friends about not wanting to be incredibly obsessive and calling this girl that he's interested so much, and his lesbian friend is explaining to him that it is a bad idea to be too excessive because it has happened to her multiple times. And they're like, no. And she's like, look. And so she plays like a voicemail, and it's like this girl, aka Little Funyuns. She's like, hey, it's Charisse, aka Little Funyuns, just calling you. Want to know what you're doing? Like,
Oh, jeez.
dude, it's hysterical. And so anyway, I really like throwing in Little Funyuns wherever I can because I think that's an awesome nickname.
Just
Little Funyuns.
That's my story. Guys, for you those who don't know or are joining us for the first time, the format of the show is really, really simple. It's a random topic show. Each week, the Maelstrom gamers hop on a Skype, and we each bring a topic, 5 topics total, for our discussion, but more importantly, for your entertainment. And each topic is its own separate video on YouTube Monday through Friday, and on Saturday, all the topics are rolled up into one giant episode for you, for free. All of that's for free on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel. If you'd like to get that a week earlier, or the MP3 earlier, or have your topic on our show, you can go to patreon.com/MaelstromGamers, and you can give us as little as $1 every month,
20.
just for a month, and then you can be done with it, or you can allow it to keep going. It's totally up to you. But that little dollar goes a long way for us because it allows us to go and advertise and put the money back into the show.
and
it
pursue our
supports us.
stripping careers.
Yeah, right, and our stripping careers. And then you get something out of it too. Your money's not wasted there. So think about that. But look, if you don't have money, that's okay too. You might be 12 years old and you don't have a job, or you could be 35 and not have a job. It's fine. You might not have money. So there are free ways to support us too. You can go on our Facebook page. You can go at Maelstrom Gamers on our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channel. Comment, like, subscribe, share, and we really want to hear from you. It's been really fun.
Or you can fund our Pokemon habits right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Addictions.
I can't condone
That's
that.
fine.
I can't
Do
condone that.
Please, no, please.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, are we talking like shooting
sugar,
up?
like sugar daddy, sugar mommy, kind of like.
Are you just
you know,
shooting Pokeballs?
Yeah, like
right
you
up
get
the
a lot
backside
of
and
coins.
just
So you
going-
can get like a lot of like lures and some incense and stuff. And
So you wanted to hail Pokemon coins.
yeah, hell,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Right on.
Make it
Pokemon.
rain for real.
Make it rain for Pokecoins. Yeah, that sounds like something our audience would definitely be interested in supporting and investing in.
Pokemon addictions.
Yeah, our Pokemon addictions. I gotta get that Pikachu, man.
Yeah, I've gotta get them all.
Yeah, he's been fucking
Hey.
with me.
Hey,
Whatever it takes. Gotta be the
I
best.
hunted down Pikachu yesterday.
Yeah. All right. Good
I
stuff. Did
almost
you get
got in
him?
an accident for Pikachu. No, I'm just kidding.
That would not surprise me, Rocco.
No.
And look, if you guys are liking what you're hearing, you're liking what you're seeing, you might want to check us out showcasing our mediocre gaming skills on youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel, where we stream games we're playing live, like League of Legends, like Paragon, like Smite. I think you're starting to see a little theme here. We also do Uncharted 4. There's been Halo in the past. There's been Dark Souls, a bunch of different games. Whatever we're kind of thinking about or playing at the current day time, we'll be streaming it. And yeah, so you might want to join us too if you feel so inclined, because we want to play with you. We don't want you to play with yourself alone. That's a little bit sad. So come play with us. You can check out our handlers in the description below.
Depends on what you're trying to play.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just remember, when you're watching us or playing with us, we are not the best. We're certainly not the worst, but we are entertaining. That's right, entertaining. And then we lost Steve's face, so that's fine. And that's pretty much it.
My face is the most beautiful part of this.
I don't know. That's debatable.
Yeah, definitely debatable.
So, Steve, why don't you get that loaded up real quick?
Please, Steve. Technical difficulties happening on Steve-O's side, just like always. We got a 10-minute computer boot up. I don't know why he even turns it off. Why
I
he
think
turns
that we
it
should
off.
go into that
speak,
topic.
Yeah, yeah. So speak of that, Rocco, Steve, you know that we love you.
Intervention.
This is a safe place, Steve.
Okay,
But
It's
we
a
need to have
back. What are you guys
discussion.
saying? You guys saying some shit about
It's
me?
innovation.
No,
It's
this
intervention time.
is an intervention. This is not
This
a place.
is an intervention.
We're just
Steven.
gonna berate you and be really loud.
Hey, why do you turn off your computer?
Yeah. What's
It
up
takes
with that?
10 minutes to boot up. Why you
Why
turn
don't you
it
just
off?
leave it on?
I don't know. I should actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it on.
Yeah.
It takes less
Yeah.
power.
It takes-
Interventions are supposed to be more difficult.
They are. Yeah. You're supposed to be more in denial about
Okay,
this.
that
Yeah.
was not as long as
He's
we
like,
thought.
okay.
All right. Let's get on to our first topic.
Okay.
I'm gonna open up to the floor to you guys. Who would like to go first?
Okay. I'm gonna go with Steve-O because let's segue from Pokemon catching
Yeah.
Pikachu's.
Sounds
Yeah,
great.
let's go, Steve-O.
Okay,
like
guys.
drum
I'm gonna
kit.
be talking about Pokemon Go.
Who's not talking about Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
Everybody's not talking about.
What about Pokemon Go, Steve?
Yeah.
Just some of the things that I mean, we already talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago on when it first came out. I was just talking about like improvements. What do you guys think they should take it from here? Because I guess I mean you're hearing a bunch of stuff on there like, hey, they're getting hit by cars. There's a bunch of like the tracking system's actually messed up right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of things messed up with that game. To
Yeah,
be
yeah.
quite honest.
Okay, like what, Clay? What's
Like-
messed up with the game?
There's
name
gyms in
one.
the middle of freeways.
Oh, what?
When?
No.
When I drive on I-5 and go
Yeah.
over the
Why are you
I-90,
playing Pokemon?
there are gyms on the freeway,
Why are you
which I
asking
think
you a
is pretty
question?
bad.
Yeah.
There's gyms. They're like people's houses. They're using they made an old app that helped with their technology has helped Google and Apple Maps. The only problem is their mapping software is very outdated, which to be expected because unless you're Google, who has the money to keep up with the amount of changes that happen throughout every fucking neighborhood in the world, you're gonna run into this problem. They don't have that kind of money, so it's understandable. But it's also kind of a disappointment that they've created a mechanic in which gyms will pop up at major like public locations such as churches. The only problem with that is that when a church gets mowed down and a couple houses go up in its place, those people's houses are now a prime spot for people to linger and meander and try to catch all these goddamn Pokemon. So if you're like having sex or wanting to be alone or just wanting to like get your kids outside and like walk like a comfortable human being, and that you feel you own your own property, you have this problem. And so I think that's something that they could probably improve.
That is a problem. I could see that being a problem.
Well, yeah,
Of
I
course,
mean,
yeah. I mean, no one wants people walking on their property because you don't know what they're doing. They could actually try to be breaking in. You don't know.
Yeah. So it's
And-
at night. It's at. I mean, it might be cute for the first day. Like, oh, look at these idiots. Look at their photo. That's fine. But then when they're there 24/7, because trust me, they're there and they're not leaving. Especially if it's like a hot spot location.
Yeah.
It gets pretty annoying, and that sucks.
That's when you just build a fence and then just start charging people to come on your property.
It would maybe if they could just
You
figure
want to
out
catch
like
that Charizard? $5.
if they
Yeah.
could work something out with Google Maps to somehow like maybe update their technology or whatever, that would be nice. In addition to that, their algorithms for where Pokemon are and why is very off. They alienate people who live in the boonies.
Yeah, I don't
That's
get
very
anything.
true.
Exactly. And so
Like,
you
I
have these
have to
people
go
who
drive
live in the city, and I could literally sit on my couch and catch Pokemon all day, every day, and it don't matter. And I have a
bet you
hotspot
do that.
literally across the street from me, so I could just sit there and go. And that's fine. That's convenient. But
Well, what kind of Pokemon, though, man?
Rattatats.
It doesn't matter.
yeah.
Squirtles.
But,
But
it
it
does,
it
but that
sucks.
doesn't matter. You
No,
can
I
still-
got an
you're
Aerodactyl.
still-
I got a
but
Ghastly.
look,
I got
you're
a
still gonna level
Pidgeotto.
up
You got an
way fast.
Aerodactyl.
Yes.
But
Show
you
me.
guys are still going to level
don't
up.
believe it.
Show me.
An Aerodactyl.
Yes.
I've never seen an Aerodactyl yet.
Yeah, it was right
Okay,
outside.
so while
Right
he
over
gets
there.
that up,
Shit,
okay,
oh,
I've
shit.
only played this just a little bit. I mean, I have played it, but from my interactions so far, it seems like even though my phone is active, I have signal and everything like that, it just says no GPS signal found. But I'm looking at my other things and my GPS is working, so it didn't seem like it's coordinating that well. And like, I don't know where my guy will be here, and then boom, I'm at work. It's like I've been at work for 2 hours.
Oh, shit. I have an
Click on it.
Aerodactyl.
I got a Bulbasaur right out my apartment.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I got
that's
a
normal.
Clefairy. I
Hey,
got
so
a
here's the-
Drowsy. I got a
here's-
Ghastly.
here's the problem
All of these
with that.
outside my apartment.
That's what I'm saying.
Those
So
are
here's the
ends.
problem with that. I go outside on my property and I can walk up and down my property and I don't find one Pokemon, right?
Okay.
Or he can find a million of these Pokemon and granted
Well,
they're
he's in the
Rattatas-
city.
Hold on, but granted
But
they're
that's the
Rattatas,
problem.
Pidgeys, different things like that. He can still use those to level up. So where I was 5 for an entire week and a half, there was people in the game that were 12. And I'm like, how the hell did you get to 12? Dude, I've only seen like 7 Pokemon. This shit's like really fucking rare. Unless I drive into the city and go spend
right.
my time there. And then
Which
it's
is
like, that's not-
completely ass backwards because their
Right, but
algorithm
the
is saying
Pokemon be somewhere where there's not a lot of people, like
Right.
Yeah.
But what they're
go to
doing
rural
is
areas like the
they're
parks.
they're essentially dynamically scaling their population of Pokemon based on cellular activity. Where is cellular activity the hottest? It's hottest in the cities. So city hubs will be scaling their Pokemon, but it scales in such a sense that there's always Pokemon there, which feels really like counterintuitive to like. It doesn't even matter if it doesn't make sense because it's a fucking game about catching fake animals. But the
Yeah.
problem is that people they're burning a large part of their audience who live in the suburbs who do not have large areas of cellular activity and therefore are not participating in what needs to be a very highly social game. Which brings me to my next point, which is an improvement, is social. I cannot add friends nor look at friends' stuff. Like
Right.
the
Well,
simple
that's
case.
what I'm
just-
thinking they could take it next.
yes.
Like add a ranking system. What they're gonna start, like I think they're gonna start doing, adding a ranking system. What else was it? Where was I gonna go with that? Yeah, adding a ranking system and then being able to add friends would be great too.
Yeah.
Like being able to get like they're talking about like the legendary Pokemon they're holding out maybe for special events for people.
That would be cool.
If you hold a gym for a certain amount of time, or if you get like certain types of gyms and everything like
Do
that.
like
that
a
you can
Halloween
be able to
event where like
Yeah.
you get certain Pokemon with
Two
Halloween
things.
masks.
There's
Two
so
things-
much things they can do with this
Actually,
game.
three
Okay,
things I
what's-
want to say real quick. Okay, so
Okay.
obviously they're working on the Pokeball one, right? That glitch where you throw the Pokeball, it's fucking trying to catch, and then all of a sudden it freezes up, and you're like, God damn it, did I catch it?
Oh,
This
yeah,
fun
that
or not?
happened to me.
You
I got
gotta
pissed.
you gotta flip it up, open
They
up the
fixed
thing
that.
back. So they're fixing it, or they fixed it because I still experienced it yesterday. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The other thing is that while I was riding in the car as a passenger, though, I was on the road yesterday coming from Georgia to Tennessee, and I was like, you know what? Perfect thing. I read
Shit.
that if I throw up my incense, if I'm going over 7.5 miles an hour, I can get a Pokemon one every minute. So, like, with all the glitches and all the things going on, I could probably get up to 15 Pokemon. So I was like, this will be awesome. I also put out what was the other thing I put? An egg, so I can get
Lucky
two
egg.
times XP at the same time. Right? So I did this, and then I ran into fucking 30 Pokemon. Every single Pokemon escaped my Pokeball. Is it
What?
because I was driving
Yes.
and we're going at a faster speed?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's absolutely it.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, why wasn't that like mentioned? And like, why can't a passenger or somebody sitting in the back seat be able to play the video game for a now 8-hour trip?
No,
and he wants to hang
well-
out and enjoy himself. So it's like you hit the Pokemon, you get it, and then you know how it used to. It's just like it's there, so that you can keep attempting to do it. Doesn't matter from there about where you had found the Pokemon.
It's
I guess
because
they
I mean
changed
they're
something.
trying to make it. They're trying to make it for like reality. Like you're out of the
Well-
vicinity of the Pokemon.
well,
You can
here's the
exploit it that
issue
way.
with
And to be
that.
honest with you,
Here's
it's
the
not
issue
really
with that,
safe
though.
either.
That's not safe because then that means that somebody's going to try to go back out to that road if they want to go catch that Pokemon they had just saw or something
Well,
like
it's
that.
also unsafe to even just be able to like try to catch Pokemon while going that fast, right? What they have the technology, they have the hooks in place in their coding to say if you go this amount of speed, if you go above the speed, can't do X or this thing disappears. Why don't you just eliminate all hotspots and all like incense access in all gyms when driving at that fast of speed, so that when someone's driving, they don't even feel compelled to try to play this game, which a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, but what about the passengers?
Well,
Like
look,
me,
you
I was
can't
just
do it
passenger
anyway.
driving
The way the
for-
game is like created is you can't get,
Yeah.
you're not. I mean, you can't shoot a deer
If
really.
if it's pushing towards that direction, then they shouldn't even have Pokemon on interstates. Maybe they should eliminate all
Yeah,
that.
right.
Anything
Totally
like you were
agree.
saying.
Totally agree.
Just eliminate all, like, not shut it down at certain speeds, but just say like all interstates and stuff like that. No Pokemon, because we don't want anybody to try to even attempt to go from the rest stop
Right.
out to the interstate to try to catch the Pokemon. And
yeah,
then
don't
be
even go
10 feet
near
away.
anything dangerous
And then
like
get
that.
hit
It's
by
only
some
been out for 3
people.
weeks too, guys. So like they're probably thinking of all the stuff right now.
They're gonna
that they
have
could do.
to.
Yeah.
So
Well,
here's
yeah,
the other
'cause
thing
there's-
too. One last the other thing I want to say, that was the second of the three. The last one is shout out to Joey Salads. Have you guys seen Joey Salads on?
Oh, Salad Fingers, I love that guy.
He does like the social experiments and stuff like that, right?
I know what salad fingers is.
Joey Salads.
bullshit on that.
He does
Yeah,
social he
Joey
does-
Salad. Yeah, we know.
yeah, Joey
social
Salad.
experiments
Joey
on-
Salad.
He does social
No.
experiments on Facebook. Okay, he's been like pretty well known. His stuff goes viral often. He did recently a social experiment with Pokemon Go, right? Because they've been talking about like, oh, people predators on kids and stuff like that. And he showed that it's totally possible. So what he does is he puts out a lure for himself, and it's following him. And he's like sitting there. He's like, "Oh, you guys playing Pokemon Go too?" They're like, "Yeah, I'm playing Pokemon." "Oh, that's so cool. What level are you guys?" "Oh, I'm level 10."
That's
"Oh, I'm
so
level
fucked
12. That's so cool."
up.
"Oh, hold on, my buddy's calling me." Hey, what's up, buddy?" "What? There's a Charizard? Seriously?" "Hey, do you guys know where 3rd and 7th Street is?" "Yeah, it's just right around the corner. You guys want to come with me?" They said there's a Charizard here. Yeah. Well, I got my car. Let's just go do there real quick." All right, fine. "Guys, how old are you?" They're like 14. He goes, "Do you understand what could have just happened right now?" Like, he breaks it down and
Yeah,
explains it
I've
all.
seen him
But
do
these,
this, yeah.
these are like 14-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids, like kids that you expect that would like have some type of understanding that don't go do this, right? 14,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're a freshman in high school kind of deal. Like, they were just like, it was no resistance whatsoever to like, it just, for whatever reason, this Pokemon Go, it's like you're a part of this community, for some reason just like drops the idea of like
Well, they're so excited
that
about
trust.
it. They just,
It builds
yeah.
trust instantly, and like,
Well,
yeah, exactly.
I know. Well, not only that, man, but like, it's all about teaching your kids the right thing too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that one girl that got hit by a car. All right, they post a Pokestop across the highway, right? Now, in your mind, is it the app's fault that they posted it on that
It's definitely
on the other
hers.
side
She
of the
needs to be
highway?
looking-
Like,
Oh yeah, it's
Both
hers
or is
all
it the
day.
kid's fault? Like,
No, it's hers. They don't need to have things in the highway, though, is my point. Like, there's
Okay.
improvements on both sides, but it ultimately comes down to that girl for not looking both ways. She's an idiot.
not
Well,
just
not only that,
looking
but,
both
like,
ways, but
she's
even
crossing
attempting
a
to cross
highway.
a
Yeah,
highway.
like,
Yeah, you don't
Like,
fucking
the
cross the
highway. You don't
yeah.
cross the highway. to
So
go-
I mean, she blames the app and everything. Another thing too, guys, I wanted to actually point out because I've been following it. I follow it all the time. They're actually going to come out with an update. They did stop taking requests for Pokemon stops at stores because the small businesses were all requesting them.
Yeah.
Not only that, because I was thinking, I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, I mean, how's that really going to help small businesses? Because you can just drive by, get the Pokemon stop, and then go. You know what I mean? So what they're doing now is actually, they're thinking in one of their updates that are coming up probably in the next month, when all those new lures come out and the new Pokestops come out, it's gonna require you to actually go in the business. That's how small it's gonna be. They're gonna actually require you to go in the business. Now, what do you guys think about that?
I don't know about. So talking
It's-
about this is good because my father-in-law owns Mexican restaurants, and one of his Mexican restaurants has this Pokestop there. Has a rest stop or a lure spot, whatever it's called.
Pokestop.
The gym?
Pokestop. It's a
Okay.
Pokestop. It's not a gym.
Pokestop, yeah.
Now
Okay.
his one of his partners has a gym at his for whatever reason, and so he said there's a lot of people coming over there and taking pictures of his fountain and stuff like that. And that's what he thought. I think he thought they were taking pictures, but really they were just kind of putting the phone up and they were spinning it around and doing their thing. But it was just it didn't really like increase anything of his business though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As it just increased like a bunch of like, like foot traffic. But it was like very purposeful foot traffic. That wasn't like I'm not going to this place to go get any extra food or even attempting to think about food. I'm only coming here specifically to just snag this thing real quick and then get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it wasn't really increasing his business opportunities as you might possibly think that it would. Like,
Now-
more people might actually come in and go get some like chips and stuff like that. But the people that are doing the rest stops, and even I've done it too. You don't stay at those places.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
what he needs
even
to
if you
do.
go inside, I don't think it's gonna. That might change people's.
Well, the
You
thing is, if you request gyms though, because
Gyms people stay there, and yeah.
gyms, people will stay there. You'll
right.
get
And the
put-
thing, yeah, and the thing is actually my best friend Nick, his father-in-law actually is part owner in it's called the Bulo Cafe, and instead of like it's almost like a bar / tiki hut. They serve like natural drinks there, like I think it's like a bula root, and it kind of gives you like a body high instead of kind of like drinking. So everyone's drinking that instead. But that one's a gym, and he says ever since they got like a gym there, like people have been like when I was there, like people they had like a bunch of I don't know, plugs outside, and people were just sitting there just doing the gym the entire time, just drinking the Boolaroo, just live music was going on. Like it was pretty cool
That's
atmosphere.
fun.
Now I think
Well,
that probably-
environments like that, places like that, are gonna thrive off of things like a Pokemon gym, right? Like
Yeah.
that will be great. Like a
What-
restaurant, even that will do great.
What I was worried is that there's certain
But a
lures
post
or
office
Pokemon that you
Pokemon
can
gym.
only get. Like, if it gets too integrated with, like, that seems really weird. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta go to those McDonald's to get the special Pikachu, or you gotta go to, like... Then I'm
So-
like, dude, get that shit out of my goddamn game. Like, just let
Well,
me fucking go
Think
get
about
my
this.
Pokemon.
What your father-in-law should do is, you know those like little chalk signs and stuff. He should get one of those and
Yeah.
put on there. What's the most rare one? Is it like Mewtwo or
Yeah.
one of the? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 2 of them caught here.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
And
False
I mean,
advertisement.
fucking
I
who
mean,
cares?
even though it's totally
it'd be hilarious because like that'd be all over the internet.
And then all you have to do is
Be
literally
checking
have
it out,
some
yeah.
specialty drinks that are like, oh, get a Pikachu, and it's like a yellow drink, and
So-
like,
so when-
boom, your fucking business is flying up. He can give me 10% if you'd like for those ideas.
So when you hosted the other week, and Alan
Yeah.
and I went to the cabin, we were playing Pokemon Go, and we have a buddy Jay, and I was we were like looking around and stuff, and I totally like fucked him up. Like I was walking by the fireplace. Oh shit, a Mewtwo! I was like, oh my god! And then he gets up like out of his chair, he's like, what? And, like came over and wanted to look, got really excited. And I was like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. And he was very, very pissed. And I think if people were to ever find out
Yes.
if your father-in-law is doing this, like, and not, like, real, like, it could potentially backfire on him.
Somehow, like,
It
Well,
would.
I mean, that's, I don't know, you can do whatever you want. But
Yes.
it's a way
10%
to
of that
generate.
lawsuit.
So, I mean, you could sit there and maybe not even just say the rarest one. You could just sit there and have a tally of
You
what.
could just say, catch your Pokemon here,
Yeah.
right? That might entice people to come in.
Or you could say, so many Pikachu's caught here, and have
Oh,
it.
right, yeah.
It's a drink, you know, like, yeah, here it is.
What I know people are doing are putting lures on the Pokestops by their place, and that's keeping people there. And so that's
yeah.
something else he can do.
Dude, the video actually I made yesterday, like, because I told you guys what I was gonna try to do, right? I actually recorded my phone, like all the games that were. I had an app that records like the games that I'm playing on my phone. So I was recording that as I had a selfie stick, dude. It was like nerd times 11.
Yeah.
I was going around just filming myself playing the game. I was at the park. I have it all together. I'm putting the video together. It's a Pokemon Go thing.
Awesome.
And I was like, here, let me do an experiment. And I was like, I'm gonna put 2 lures down here. Let's see how many people we can get here, dude. I put 2 lures down. No joke, like the parking lot just filled up. Like after that, it's like so many people. There was like 6 people at the park, and I counted them. When I got there, when I put the 2 lures down, like no joke, it shot up to like 25 or 30 people. Like it was hilarious.
Rocker,
So-
do you play when you and your family are out walking around?
Occasionally.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
when we went shopping yesterday, I'm not big on shopping, so I was
Yeah.
just pushing a stroller.
Yeah.
I was playing them.
Sarah's like,
Yeah.
no.
I don't
It's
know,
family
no,
time. Put
no,
that
fuck
away.
Well,
that shit. I ain't doing that shit right now.
I don't
I-
care, man. I
I'll
embrace
push the
it.
fucking thing and I'll just.
Well, you
play.
have older children that can actually participate with you.
Well, he was playing, so he was catching the Pokemon too. With
right, but
No, I
Mihaela
mean,
isn't, right?
I'm not. No,
Huh?
I'm
Mihaela
I'm doing it on my
isn't,
though.
own, man. By myself. They
Well,
can participate and stuff like that. Oh yeah.
My wife
It's like my
absolutely.
internet went out.
Yeah, because I don't, like I said, I don't get on it much, but like when we get into the truck, I hand her my phone, and she's like, no, last night she threw my phone. She's like, I am not doing this for you. I was like, I am so far behind because I don't get on it that often.
Me
I was
neither.
like, just help me out here. And yeah, she refuses. She definitely refuses, and it's so hilarious.
Guys, I got something that we were listening to because my kids are my little guy's 5 years old right now, and he's been getting into Pokemon a lot lately too. So I've been playing the Pokemon Go with him and getting him in the Pokemon show. But me and Steve-O and my brother were like hardcore nerds, and Ian, I can't remember if you participated in this or not, but we had a Pokemon album that I had gotten when I was a kid, and we used to sing the songs like crazy. Like,
oh my god!
On the Road to Viridian City was one of them. And there was another one. We were playing the Pokemon album on the ride up here through to Tennessee. And it was just like bringing these floods of memories back of how nerdy I was. But here's one of the songs, dude. Like one of these Pokemon songs right here.
We got to be careful or we're going to get...
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Like 5 seconds.
I'm going to have to like go to the nice part, the fun part. Hold on.
I think that's crazy that your son is playing Pokemon. And like I remember being like 10 years old. And
well, we
Pokemon
used to
for
play...
the first time.
We used to play with the card game, and I mean, we did it just for a little bit.
Right? Pokemon Go! Like, dude, this was like my little kid jam, man. It was like,
how old are you?
I'm on the road to Viridian City.
Oh my god.
I'm on the road.
Is Karina just shaking her head the whole time, or what?
No, she was like, listen, she was like, oh, these are cool. Yeah, like, it's like, what kind of Pokemon are you? Are you through? How'd it go? What kind of Pokemon are you? Are you? I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway,
well, that's a great song, Rocco.
Anyways.
All right, I think that's enough Pokemon for one
Pokemon,
day.
see you later.
Well, we could stay on the app topic here and jump over to me.
Sure.
And with all that Pokemon Go, and we all know what Steve-O's answer is going to be, but what is the your most used app on your phone? What do you use most? It could be a game, it could be a messenger, it could be Facebook.
I use this thing called Pornhub.com and RedTube.com.
Very interesting.
That has been my most used by far. I
Fact that I know what you're talking about
I
is
slash
like
played the other day, and it was about 48 real life days of use.
Did you go to your battery usage thing and
Yeah.
it's like 85%?
Yeah, 85% is used on Pornhub.com.
You might have a
RedTube.
problem.
Yeah. Really? I don't think so. I mean, it told me I
Right.
should probably get out more, but
Do they have an app?
No, I don't
They
know.
have
I'm
apps?
just-
Oh, I was like, that'd be
So,
kind of crazy.
I guess like look at I'm looking at my apps right now.
yeah, I know
Okay.
exactly what I'm gonna pick.
Let's do like
Okay, so here I'll go first.
like your top 5, right?
No,
Go
top one. That's more interesting.
We'll do the top two.
Okay.
Okay.
top
so
2. It's like you got to think about it. Like,
I want to know your other ones, but I'm
Right.
more interested in your top.
are we gonna get outside of the things like
Sure.
obviously like Messenger?
Yeah,
like,
does that
our-
really count?
Our apps,
Not
like our
text.
Okay.
I'm
our
saying
Facebook.
that would be
Obviously, which is
everyone's.
probably like a number one thing for almost everybody.
No,
too.
Facebook's not my number one.
no, and honestly, I don't even have the app.
Ooh, shit.
Oh,
Sarah doesn't either.
There we go. Never mind then. All right,
Um,
let's do this thing.
All right.
But what I do, because the app on Facebook, they make you get the messenger, and you get all these updates on your phone, and
yeah.
it aggravated the shit out of me
Yeah.
so much that I was like, I took it off, and if I want to go on Facebook, I actually go into my internet and go to Facebook.
I got
So my number one app used is the Roto World app for all my fantasy football/football needs. I'm a football addict, so I'm constant. It is habitual. At any lull downtime, I immediately go because they are constantly updating. You have 32 teams with 53 rosters on each, so it's 53 individuals plus all the coaches, plus all the owners, plus all the officials of the NFL, and it's downtime and all this other stuff and meetings and events. So I'm constantly getting updates about what's going on in the NFL, and that's just NFL. If I really want to expand and go to basketball and baseball, they have that too. So
Right.
I am constantly opening up Roto World. During the fantasy season, it is money because it tells you who's injured, who's going to get played, who's probably going to get touches, who's probably going to start, who's going to not
Right.
start. And then during the regular season, they'll update you, or off season they'll update you on the draft and who's working their way through the rings and stuff like that.
That's pretty interesting, Clay, because I guess that really depends for me the time of the year. I mean, right now I'm not on it much, but come football season, it's ESPN app. I'm on it virtually all day.
Let me tell you something. You're missing out. Roto World is basically a
Yeah, but ESPN and Yahoo get updated by Roto World.
Yeah. Okay, fair point. But so Yahoo. Okay, yeah. So it's really, then I guess that's the only thing. But the thing is that maybe it's just the UI you should check out. But Roto World will.
Okay.
Wow, Steve needs to get back on like now. Roto World will basically like it's a small Twitter feed. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. And it takes from ESPN, it takes from Yahoo, it takes from all the main Twitter people, and it will show you. And like, look how clean that is. You can see the icon and like the head name and like what position, and then a simple. So you can just scroll, and you're just like, okay, what happened to this guy?
Oh shit!
Boom. And then they give really great insights of like, oh, he's doing this, blah blah blah, and like this is what we think, and then you can go back.
That's huge because I mean, if you go like on the ESPN app and all that other stuff, you have to actually go to the person to get the update.
This is exactly what I'm saying. And so yeah, ESPN, Yahoo might have similar information, but this stuff is just straight up distilled down to like, boom, and you can just like
get a new number one for Ian.
I'm telling you, man, you should check it out. He's really great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. That's pretty cool. So, what are like maybe some other ones that you go to a lot? But that's your number one is Roto World.
That's my number one. More recently, I have been absolutely falling in love with the news app. That I've been sleeping under a rock for these last couple of years, but the news app from Apple is so freaking amazing. Yeah. You basically tailor it to everything you're interested in. That was a phrase. That's really funny. So basically, I have like everything from politics to video games on here, and it gets stuff from Washington Post. Like it's got a lot of like what Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump stuff. It's showing me Marvel stuff. Like and then you click on it really easily, and it brings you right to the thing that you can read, and then it's really fun. You'll just go right back, and then so it's a newspaper designed specifically for you about all the topics you want. I love this so much that it actually doesn't exist on a PC to my knowledge, and that hurts me because when you're on your computer, you open up tabs, and then that's a different website, and then in that website you try to look through all their articles, right? Some websites, like we were just describing, are not as user friendly and fluid as others, right? So you have to click on or say click load more stories. This thing again distills it down to
This is just another like Roto. What is that? Roto World, whatever it is for news though. So it's like if I wanted to sell you an app, I just got to find out how to make things like
simple,
more efficient,
dude. Yeah,
and simple.
I mean, efficiency.
You're looking for efficient, simple apps.
But can you
things that are going to just
like,
make
Rocky,
what you do already?
You just showed up that you used it too. Like,
no, I know, I do.
If I had this on my desktop, there's like I wouldn't have to open up a billion tabs. I would just go to this because this has Kotaku, it has Gizmodo.
That's the same thing I do too.
It's just
I got mine even for like Medicare stuff, like things from my job related things to like you were saying, like video games to art stuff to space stuff to political things. You know?
Yeah. I guess if you're
like that app
for more of a like I want to see exactly what Kotaku has been coming out with, you can go there, which would be fine. But like this is like a nice just what is like the latest and greatest right now.
Here you go. So let me see about mine. It's funny. So I would say, because I mean it feels like lame to say Facebook, right? App, but it is one that I use often. You know, one that I use big time often is Waz or Waze.
Oh yeah, for traveling.
For traveling, yeah. Because I do a lot of driving for work and stuff like that, and that one's really good for where GPS will just be like, okay, get from point A to point B this way, and it doesn't update itself through like traffic, like incidents happening, as they're happening and stuff. So it just keeps you on that same path. Where this will like update you, even if there's a cop up ahead about a mile ahead on the left, it'll be like, oh, watch out, there's a cop up ahead on the left, and you're like, oh shit, I'm going to slow down around this corner. But it'll also calculate and recalculate your route if there's traffic up ahead. So with me doing a bunch of driving and having a set appointments, having to be there on time and can't use the excuse of traffic kind of deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I use that a lot. I'd say like a lot. It's like where I'm even thinking about possibly buying that mount that I could put onto my car and just using that instead of my actual Garmin that I have.
Yeah.
Using my phone instead.
Yeah,
the only thing is that I live in a rural area where there's sometimes like loss of cell reception where the GPS still actually picks up a satellite signal for some reason.
Oh, nice.
And I'd say my second biggest app is WeatherBug. I do a lot of stuff that has to deal with being outside and with growing and stuff like that.
Why don't you use the weather app that's on the iPhone?
Because like the WeatherBug, I feel like I get a lot more information with the WeatherBug.
Okay.
Like it tells me a lot about like the humidity level too as well. Like
does it update live on the tile itself, or do you have to like? Because the thing I don't like about the
I don't have it on a tile. I have to click into the app.
No, I mean sorry. I meant to say on the app. Does it show you the current temperature?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, 82.
Without clicking on the app, it just shows you on the app that it's 82.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because
No,
Android has.
I have to click onto the app.
Yeah.
Yeah, Android has it done differently. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
one.
because
Like that's
mine,
I have to
like,
click
I mean, I don't have like a weather app, but mine, I don't know. Yeah, you probably can't see it, but right at the top,
Yep.
it just tells me the
Yeah,
weather.
I
So
know.
I guess that would be
What app
technically an app that I would use a lot because I always check it every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you know, so my top one, honestly, what
And
I access the
Spotify.
most. What's that?
And Spotify. Gotta say,
that's what I was just about to
Spotify
say.
A lot, yeah.
Spotify, or it's like a tie because like when I'm like doing house chores or mowing my yard, doing yard work, I always have my phone with Spotify, or Clash Royale.
Yeah, you playing a lot of
What?
Clash?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Clash
Because I mean,
Royale.
even when
What
I
is that
like,
one? It's not the Clash of Clans. Is it like
it's
a
the
a
same
card-
creators.
Battling game, essentially.
Yeah.
You get cards. They represent forces in a real time, somewhat like very strategic battle between you and another castle, and you're just summoning troops.
Cool.
And it's like a tug of war kind of thing.
So you play a lot of that?
Yeah, only because like when you're at work and stuff like that, and like a little bit of downtime or something, I jump on that. But it has to be a tie between that and Spotify because it depends on what I'm doing.
Does
Now, of
anybody use
course,
any other like internet streaming app? I mean, not internet streaming app. Music streaming app.
I used to do Pandora. I got kind of sick of Pandora because I mean, honestly, you get on a station, it's the same songs. It's like I kind of want a different variety.
Couldn't you just make another station?
Yeah, you can, and I'd done that. But then, like, I want more. Then, and you'll get so many skips through, and the nice thing about Spotify is that even like if you pay for it, you can have your own just list.
So I have like I have both Spotify and Pandora on my phone, and they have their different purposes for me. Like if I want to listen to like classical music or something like a certain genre, and like it all stays around that genre, then I'll open up the Pandora because I think that it works really well with the idea of like finding a song and sticking with that genre.
Right.
Where with like Spotify, it's like kind of if I want to like not so much stick with the genre, bounce around, but like it's like just I don't know. Certain sound, not genre, because Spotify works better off the genres. I feel like Pandora works better off of like sound, like. This song sounds similar to this song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this song
It
sounds
has a lot
similar
of
to
percussion
this song.
and-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So we're gonna add another song that kind of similar to this. Where Spotify is just like pop, and it could be anything in that whole range of pop, and you're like, well, what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah,
it's
their
like-
algorithm is not as.
Where Pandora feels like it's like, oh, you chose this pop song. We're gonna stay similar to that.
I've
sound.
found so many amazing Pandora gems because of that, like songs that I never had listened to before, and they had like exposed. It was a really great app back in the day for me.
Yeah.
I wonder how I would imagine there's a lot of people that share your sympathy, Ian, in terms of like, or share your mentality, because I think I kind of lean that way. Real quick though, I want to do a little test. What do you think the top grossing app on the Apple Store is right now? No cheating.
Pokemon Go.
All right,
Yeah.
there you go. What do you think? What do you think is higher, Spotify or Pandora?
Spotify.
I would say Pandora.
It's Spotify.
Oh.
Bam.
Spotify's number 4. Pandora's number 6.
I win, you lose, Rocco.
Yep.
I won the first one.
And then where do you think Clash Royale is?
I would say that's probably like 7th or 8th.
Okay. Do you think it's higher or lower than Clash of Clans?
I think now it's higher.
Okay. Rocco?
I don't even know that game. I'm gonna say 15th place.
Oh shit! It's 13th.
Oh,
Fuck,
there
you were
go.
close.
And it's lower than Clash of Clans.
Sure is. Clash of Clans number 7,
Damn.
right underneath Pandora. Mobile Strike and Game of War are the top
Oh,
3.
I won. Fuck you.
See, everyone's. You see all those commercials for Mobile Strike and stuff like that, and they get these high name actors, to sit there and endorse it. But I just don't see how that's any fun.
Whoop.
I just don't see the. Have you played it before?
Played what?
Mobile Strike.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
And then Tinder's like number 12. And YouTube is up there, Netflix is up there, and 8 or 10 and 8 respectively.
So basically, people would rather listen to music and play games instead of try to hook up with chicks and dudes or whatever people are on there for.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Priorities, man.
Priority
Priorities.
over sex.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our next topic. It's going to be my topic. If Steve ever comes back, that'd be great.
Yep. I like how
we-
it just keeps bouncing back and forth.
Intervention, man.
Yeah.
An intervention.
Why do people hate millennials? I've been listening to a lot of radio and news, and unfortunately, my Facebook feed is filled with things like, oh, I can't stand this
Entitlement.
generation. Yeah, they're entitled, and everybody, like, somehow along the way, we have essentially been associated with everybody gets a trophy. We want everything to be free. So these are like the things that I'm noticing that irk me on the skin, and I have a hard I don't understand why people are associating this with us, but because I feel like it's being misrepresented in what we want. But we want everything free. There's this like idea that everybody earns a trophy. We're sissies because we're too sensitive. We're too politically correct. We stay at home far too long. We don't get a job. Like, we don't spend money. Maybe if you guys have other stuff, but those are like the top like 5-6 things that I keep seeing in this generation, and like what's wrong with this generation, and they just really hate on it. And maybe it's too is because it's really fun to hate on hipsters. That's like a trendy thing, and a lot of millennials, I think, get this hipster kind of vibe to them, and hipsters are very polarizing, right? You either really like them or you don't. They could come off as very like, what is it? What's the word? When just like a nose to everything. They're pretentious. They're very pretentious, right? So
Okay.
I wanted to know what you guys thought in terms
Why
of
do people feel that way?
why people feel that we have this self-entitlement, why they feel like we want it, because they have like this thing. I've seen this a ton. It's like this millennial wants everything for free, and it's like, what, does she want everything for free, or is like it's bizarre to me, because what was she advocating for was like advocating for free college education and not having student loans, and everybody's like, back in my day I worked for every dime that I had to go. But I was like, back in your day you didn't come out of college, or even go to college for that matter, and then end up with a mortgage payment every month that you had to pay in addition to trying to get a mortgage payment. And so yeah, like, I absolutely understand that a whole generation who's being screwed over by not only the federal government, but the privatization of corporations loaning out these student loans, and these colleges that are for profit screwing over an entire generation, and therefore an economy, and a global economy at that, that's having ripple effects, because people can't buy cars, people can't buy houses, people can't go out and get jobs. Like, yeah, I totally understand why someone would come onto a TV network, a news network, and be like, yeah, I want education to be free. I shouldn't have to come out with $100,000 plus in student loans. That's $100,000. Like, the average cost of an out-of-state university, which I would argue a lot of people do, is somewhere in the tune of $30,000.
That's insane.
4 years of
And-
that.
and
Do
there's
the
a lot
math.
of people that have that
369,
too.
Okay,
120.
guys, I'm back. Cool. We're talking about the
yeah.
app we're going to use the most, right?
No, we're not. We're
I'm
talking about
using,
college education.
Oh, we're talking about college education.
We're talking about millennials and why people hate them. And so, like,
Oh,
so that's just that. Like, I named 6 things, and I would love to talk about all of them, but that's just one thing as to why I can't understand why people are like, oh, she just want, like, they look at it as whiny, but what I look at it as,
They are
from my
super
perspective, is evolution, right? Evolution into our process, into how we bring people into this world, how people become adults. I think it's absurd that when you become an adult, you have this mortgage payment, and you can't just be like, well, then just don't go to college. We're like, well, what the fuck, man? If you don't go to college, not only are you limiting your ability to move up in this world, but you're also like, how do you get ahead without a college education these days? So you have to go to college, you have to spend this money, you have to end up having this, and if your parents don't have the money to spend on college for you, you end up with a bunch of student loans. So yeah, that seems like a broken system. Why aren't we more sympathetic and understanding that this system needs to be fixed. Therefore, and i.e. fixed meaning it should be free. Ideally, right? Like that's the thing you should shoot for. If you could at least bring it down by 100%.
Now here's the thing that they're like, oh, you want it for free. You want it for free. Like that's the part where they're like, oh, the entitlement stuff. But this is the thing. Like, I want it for free for my children in their future, and I want it free for everyone's children in the future for moving forward. And I have absolutely no problem having to pay or fork over, my taxes a little bit higher or whatever it has to be to make sure that it is that for the community. Like, I have no problem for that. So yeah, I am asking for free education for the generations coming up, with the respect that I'm willing to pay my fair share to help that out, to make that capable of happening.
Well, I want
you know what I mean? So that's not like being entitled by any means. That's me working my ass off and trying to give back to the community so that everybody can get a higher education, because I know that will eventually affect the entire whole country.
Right.
I mean, it will affect the country as a whole. Like, that ripple will be a big thing, and maybe raising our education will or making it free will allow a lot more than just 40% of the. Well, I mean, 40% is a huge amount, by the way. So when we're talking about this college debt situation, like when we talk about millennials, 40% of the millennials are getting college educations. So it's like it's the highest out of any other generation that's existed. Mm-hmm. So we are the ones that understand fully about student debt, like, and what it feels like. And with the increase that's happened of student tuition over these past decades, it's like a lot of the generations that call us entitled had to only pay about $20,000, $30,000 for college, where now colleges are ridiculously expensive.
Isn't our education system anyways last, like out of like the whole world, pretty much? Like,
I wouldn't say last, but we're not the best.
We're like in the 20s.
But we're certainly not the worst.
Yeah.
We're in the 20s from a lot of
entertaining.
Yeah, I thought it was like 28 or something like that.
23 and a lot of like 20. It just depends on what you're talking about. Like if it's math, science, like writing.
Math for sure.
Well, and basically, college is really pushed heavy on kids. It's like, hey, when you graduate high school, you should go to college. Okay, well, it's this huge amount of money that you have to pay for, and they're loaning out the money. And basically, they then say, oh, well, what do your parents make? And they're basing it off of that. And I don't think that's too fair, because there's a lot of times you're like, okay, I'm the
one that's going to be paying it.
Yeah, I moved out when I was 18. Why does it matter how much they make? Because they're not contributing. So, there's a lot of flaws in this. And these institutions, pretty much they're companies at this point. These universities are just making hand over fist on money.
Hand over fist.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at the college I went to,
and then those loans get sold over to many different companies. Then you're never paying off the principal amount, and you're just paying off interest to multiple different companies with a split loan. And they don't tell you really that it's like occurring. It's like they get you notified in like a very subtle way, but then you get hit with these like, what the fuck? How do I still have this much in debt? I thought I was paid like $3,000 already towards this. Yeah.
No, you got what it is that if you defer it or anything like that, interest still occurs on those things. So that's why that keeps building up. People are like, oh, I'm just deferring it till later, but that's why you have the different types of loans on that. So you got to be conscious of, you might just be racking up. You might have had that loan for $1,000 and then out of nowhere it's like $3,000. Well, that's because it's been just collecting interest. And people are like, there's some that don't do that until you're out of school. Then there's some that do it while you're still in school. I forgot the name. Subsidized, I think, is what they're called. So you got to really pay attention to that. But they can just sit there and stack up, and people are like, oh, I'll pay it later. I'll pay it later in life. And then out of nowhere, boom, you got a $30,000 bill.
Yeah.
That originally was $10,000, and you're like, fuck.
And we can move on from student loans to other things about millennials in just a second. But what I wanted to just add is so millennials are currently defined. Bloomberg did a study. 18 to 35 are what is considered millennials. The average student debt between that age range for millennials is $41,286.60. Average.
Wait, how much?
$41,286.60. Average. So that means there's a lot higher and a lot lower, but that is much higher than the Department of Education.
That's a really high average. You wouldn't want to expect like a 30,000, like a low 30 average.
20,000?
You know, not a $40,000 average.
Yeah, so it's pretty high up there. It's a lot of student loans to pay. So
Now-
yeah, so that's one
So
thing.
even
that
breaking
students
away
look-
from that still too, like
Right.
our money doesn't go as far. Like
Right.
that's another thing too. We're all still applying for the same jobs that like our parents applied for, and they were making the same amount of money that we would be making still to this day. But that money doesn't go as nearly as far as it did in the '80s for them or the '90s for them. You know what I mean? Like, and even the generations before that, to say it's like they were getting their freaking gasoline at under $1,
Right.
and everything was like 25 cents and all this and that. And yeah, they were making their $40,000, but they were sitting really nice. Now the people making the $40,000 doing the same exact job now, it's really equivalent to making like $18,000.
And we
you know, with the inflation.
We did that like a couple episodes ago, Rocco, where we looked at the difference between how much your income is and how much
Middle
things
class.
cost, right? The middle class, right? And so
Yeah.
we've
Yeah,
definitely
that's right.
determined that the amount of income that you get does not, right? You just said does not get you as far. So we
No.
have that going against, and then you stack on something like an extra. What I mean, that's probably like an extra $100-$200 a month on student loans, right? That hits the wallet pretty hard, and then you have rent being pretty high like and the
Well, that's why
housing
they're-
market being pretty
they're just-
volatile. That's
Like I
tough.
was saying, we're not putting back into our money back into the system because we don't have extra money to put back into the system. We're like all living paycheck to paycheck kind of deals, and those aren't really. That's not like we were talking about that like average amount of savings. There's people have the savings in their accounts and finding out that they don't. Like, I'm seeing that like it's just I don't know.
Well, no, and you're right,
Well,
because we've
like-
also been a generation that has, at like the majority of our generation, when getting into the workforce, was between 2006 to 2012, 2013, and during that time, we've basically seen the entire economy collapse into a recession. So
Yeah.
when we started to make money, or with the lucky few that
We've been
have,
in a recession the whole time
we've been in a
doing
recession,
it.
so we don't trust things
Yeah.
like the home loans and the Wall Street. So we really stock our money away for if that can happen again. I mean, we talk about how babies and like other people, like when your first experience with something is traumatic, it can affect the way you look at things in the future. When our first experience into the workforce is be careful because people are losing their homes.
And-
Because they didn't save
and their
money.
jobs
It's
and
like
everything.
I better save my money because this is crazy. I've never seen this before. As opposed to someone being like, "Well, I've lived 20 years and worked
Yeah.
fine, and this happened. We'll be fine because this will turn. It will come back around." So there's a whole section of that generation that are pretty like PTSD, shell shocked. Like they don't know if it's gonna tank again, so they're saving their money. Like they don't know how bad this could be or it can get.
Now, to go back to your original question, is why people hate millennials so much. I think another thing is that we're so out there. We have all these social media, so you can sit there and voice your opinion. Back in the day, I mean,
Yeah, that's
they didn't
true,
really
too.
have that a lot. So if you think about like the 60s and 70s and all the free love and
lot of-
everything like that, they would the generation before them probably would be saying the same thing about them.
Yeah,
you know,
oh, sure.
Look at these free loving
yeah.
people,
Oh, yeah.
And they
all they
did.
want to do is just, and that's but it just wasn't as mainstream. So
Right.
I think with those mediums of hey, every person has a voice now. Then of course that's when other people complain about that voice of our millennials. So
Yeah,
And they
it's-
and
I
they
see
w-
that.
so what do you think about them calling like us just like too politically correct and like sissies? Like I take issue with that because it's like, oh, NFL is changing their policy. Football in general in America is changing their policy because they're not going to do helmet to helmet. And it's like, and they're like, oh, these millennials, they're calling for this stuff and they're just a bunch of sissies. I'm like, well, I don't know. There's an entire like group of people who play football who now are dying early or have dementia because the rules in the NFL. Like, why is that a bad thing to want? Why is it so manly and so bad to have people like clash their heads together like that? Like, I don't want my favorite NFL player to retire and die or forget that his kids' names and
Well,
parts of
'cause
his
then
life.
There won't be any boxing left, won't there?
Well, I mean, sorry, if boxing is like directly relating to something like that, yeah, I think you should change the rules a bit. Or
For boxing, like no head punching,
Well-
just body blows.
So we'd
just blow
have to,
kisses at each other.
we're painting a big picture here in broad strokes. So obviously, without hits to the head, boxing ceases to be a sport. But there's ways to make it safer. And I'm not even talking about boxing, because boxing is not something that like has been like, oh, this blah blah blah. Like, it's football. It's direct head-to-head contact, and the idea is to not spear somebody with your head, as opposed to boxing, which is punch the guy in the face, because that's all you could do, body and face. The idea is to tackle, bring him down to the ground. You could do that without spearing your head into the other guy's helmet. So they've incorporated rules, fines, and other things in terms of like getting people away from habitually hurting themselves like that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to
So are
improve
you
helmets as
saying
well.
boxing's not a sport?
No, Steve.
What, Steve?
So
No, I'm looking for my
troll.
troll face. I'm looking for my troll face.
So-
Can't find it anywhere.
So yeah, and like I don't. So there's people out there that are very vocal about.
So,
It's
there
such a
was this-
wussy.
There was a comedian I was listening to about the politically correct thing, and it kind of makes so like he was talking about a lot of people I got offended. You know what I mean? It's like
That was
people
beautiful.
do get a little offended pretty easily nowadays. Like like you want to be able to have you know, you want to be politically correct, but sometimes it's like you got to be blunt a little bit sometimes too, to be able to say like facts without stepping on eggshells to get around it. But at the same time, we also have to respect other individuals. We've clearly have had vocabulary in our language for thousands of years that hasn't been really checked, right? Like, and we need to start checking it. Like,
Yeah,
how does it make people feel? How does it do this or how does it do that? And that's respectable. That's like when we talk about respect, right? You know what I mean? How the elders say you need to respect your elder, you need to do this. Like, wouldn't being politically correct, isn't that like the ultimate form of respect?
Yeah.
For
Well, wouldn't
talking.
you-
Well,
so
that's
would
why
you-
my-
for
that's why I have
talking
that-
and
would
communicating
you say
with another individual.
millennials? Would you say millennials are like that? Like they're not as they're more sensitive to like all that
That's
stuff. Like
what I've
politi-
heard.
Like
Yes.
that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, because wait, are we millennials?
Yes.
Is that,
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not sensitive to that stuff at all.
That's
like,
fine. It's the majority, and that's also my
that's
point. Is that there's a lot of just paint like, oh, all millennials are hipsters. Like, Steve,
Right.
you're not a hipster. Ian, you're not a hipster. Rocco, borderline.
I'm offended that you said I'm
Hold
not
on.
a hipster.
Hold on. Wait a second.
Rocco borderline.
Yeah.
I'm a hipster.
You're not a hipster, Steve.
Yes, I am.
You're not a hipster. You don't even drink Starbucks.
Look at it.
I do drink Starbucks. You kidding me?
So
You don't drink Starbucks. You can't
I
be a
do.
hipster, man.
I'll go
actually,
get my
that wouldn't be
Starbucks.
hipster. Hipster would be like, oh, Starbucks is too mainstream. I'm gonna go drink.
we go.
Exactly.
Wawa.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go drink some Bula coffee, which I just did.
So anyway, so like what we're talking about, Steve and Rocco, maybe you can go into more detail, because the politically correct thing is pretty charged with me personally. Is like, can you define what most people are talking about when, like, give me examples
you get
of when
offended?
people
So, like,
say we're
wait.
too politically correct? Can you give me an example of when someone is being too politically correct? 'Cause I'm very interested in what people think. How could you, like, that's like saying we respect people too
Well,
much.
that's what I'm trying to say is that I'm a advocate for being politically correct. Like, I want to make sure that I'm always being respectful for people, especially when I'm communicating with them. That's like my job. So I'm like, I've learned that heavily, being politically correct. But at the same
So, like-
time, I've also learned that it feels like sometimes in conversations, but it's like I can't say maybe something exactly the way I want to say it.
Like, can you give me an example?
I'm trying to think about that.
So like Ian saying
so I can't.
to me last week, he might even buy you a taco. Stephen Landis, is that politically correct or?
That is not politically correct at all.
Right, but
Well, like my best friend just came down. Nam, we were at the coffee shop, and my other best friend Nikki was like, "Yo, Nam, did you download the Pokemon Go app?" And I was like, "Of course he did, man. He's Asian."
okay.
And he's like, "That was the nicest racist thing you've ever said." That's what he's like.
But these are different.
So wait, you're talking about that like politically correct, or that's
I'm
not
talking about that, but I'm talking about, like, Steve, instead of you saying that to a friend and you
But you
being
said that to a
Steve,
stranger.
you're a politician and you're saying that about all Asian people who you don't know. Like, I get the sense that when they're like, we're being too politically correct, they're talking about, like, when I'm up here speaking to a vast majority, you guys are expecting me to be way too sensitive. I'm like,
That's
well,
exactly actually what they're talking about.
right. And so, like, if Steve's talking to a friend and they have a really good rapport and he says something that he knows won't offend the other person, that is
Right.
not being politically correct. That's being funny and being a human. When you're
And
up as a
just joking with
politician,
your buddy.
yeah, but there's a time and a place. You don't go
But
up.
when you're
Yeah.
up there and you're talking to an audience of diverse diverse people, you're not going to go and sit there and say the
Right.
same shit.
Yeah,
you know?
and so I have
joke.
so I'm trying to find examples of, like,
So then, what makes a comedian though able to say something like that? Like I know exactly the
'Cause he's
comedian
bringing
he's talking
humor
about.
to
he's
it.
bringing like And
Okay.
that's
You can
exactly
talk about
it.
anything.
So you
if
can't do it at like a serious moment. You can do it at a funny moment.
That's the same thing
Not
as if
much
you're like
people.
sitting there with the Jews and stuff like that, and you start talking about Hitler being in a serious moment, right? But you can still bring. Have you not heard Hitler jokes and
Oh yeah.
jokes and stuff like that? Because they could bring humor to anything.
So that's
If they're,
like politically correctness then. Like
No.
if it's the right place and time then.
I think that's part of
I
it.
guess
Yeah,
that would.
it's
Yeah, that's
definitely
part.
gonna be
I would
part
say
of it.
that's part of it.
It's
with
just
being-
it's just like curse words, right? Like I can call you like a bitch, right? But if I called a woman like that has so much more connotation, especially if it's like when we're in an argument. If we're having a coffee and she hits it by accident, I'm like, oh, you bitch, like. That's probably not going to offend her.
Oh, you bitch.
Oh, you
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah,
I'm, like
you
joking,
bitch.
right?
Yeah, a little head bob
Yeah,
there.
right.
And then
exactly
I know
how
what
I
she'd
said
call
that.
you.
Yeah, right. But like, and then I think this gets even deeper when like you use the word when you use the word fag or when you use the word gay, like it. And then here's the thing, like if you were using that in like we just said, like he was like, oh, isn't he Asian? Yada yada. That's fine. But if Ian and Steve are joking around and they're like, oh, you're such a fag, like I question that. Because are you saying that with the knowledge that those words, when heard around and used in that context, are offensive? And it'd be same as dropping like the N-word, right? I would have a problem with like two people being like, oh, you blah, blah, because you're using it in such a way that's I would say that's pretty offensive. Now, if you're black and you happen to use it, it's probably a different story. Or if you're with a gay guy and he's your friend and you drop that word and you guys are comfortable, that's probably okay. But like you have to be really careful, especially with recently more charged words. And so, and especially on this, like I would hope we would never use that kind of language here in any way, because when you are providing an example for someone, for a large group of people, you want to show that it's not okay to necessarily use those words because they're not politically correct. They're offensive words, and they have a lot of connotation with those people who have been rooted with that word because it's been
What do
used.
you mean those people?
Right. Gay, lesbian people have been violently and physically abused while hearing those words. And so it comes with a lot of weight. And so you have to be really careful. And so when someone's like, we're too politically correct, I should be able to call a Mexican a rapist. It's like,
Yeah.
Why would you be able to call-
no, you can't. You're
call
adding
every
hate,
rapist?
and you're influencing people who will then just think all Mexicans are rapists. Like that's bad.
was Mexican.
I'm just saying.
And I yeah.
I guess that's where people feel like they want to be like the old school mentality wants to be like you're acting like a bitch, man. You're too politically correct because you
Well,
can't
remember
just
how-
accept that right now that I'm talking to you like a dickhead.
Well, you remember how we used to say,
You know
that's
what I mean?
gay
Like-
for everything, like that's gay, that's gay.
Yeah, that's not acceptable
but now,
anymore.
But now we don't say it anymore. Like the word faggot. Like I heard it the other day, and it just like it didn't sit well with me. I was like,
Right.
what? Like I don't know why, but that's like the only word that doesn't sit well with me when I hear somebody else use it. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, why? Why doesn't that sit well with me? It just doesn't sit well with me. Like
'Cause it's not a it's
almost
an
like the
abusive word.
It's like almost like the CUNT word for
Yeah.
girls. Like
Ooh. Yeah, you
Like,
don't call a girl
it
that.
just-
I like how you
I don't-
spell it out for
And
us.
I don't know. So,
yeah, because I didn't want to say it.
so
It's like
I didn't even
I'm
want
not
to say
even
the
gonna
other
say it.
word.
I don't even gonna say it.
a thought is that the millennials could have are probably growing up with a lot more exposure to these types of people, and they have a lot more sympathy with these type of people. And also, let's not forget too, we were growing up with things like Barney and like Sesame Street and like
The other thing is
being
this
nice to
too. with
others
the- I
and, like,
think cause and effect, right? The political correctness came around because also like we are the most diverse generation existent right now too, right? So growing up in that most diverse generation,
social
like
media.
we're gonna start to become more politically correct. Wherein
Right.
before in those other generations there was more segregation, this and that. So
Yes.
that communication could be whatever it was. And now that that's not the case and stuff like that, that communication,
of
like I was
social
saying,
media.
there's certain vocabulary words that we've had in our language for a very long time that are going to need to start exiting out because now we're all merging together and starting to see this as like a unified community, and that means that certain terms that we've used to try to put people down can no longer be used.
it can't.
You know what I mean?
Because-
Like,
yeah, because people can stand up a lot easier for each other and everything, like all because of social media. Back then, like you couldn't stand
on
up against
top of it's
police,
morally wrong.
police or
Yeah,
anything
it's just
like that.
wrong.
Well,
Like,
yeah, that too.
not
But
like-
like people like say that morally wrong person is doing it. Like he's like, oh, nobody's gonna bash me or get on my case about it because no one's really gonna know about it. Who's gonna really know about it
Sure,
other than the
right.
people around my vicinity? But now social media blow everything up,
But it's
Yep.
not. But there's really not a big difference either, because although before it was less tangible to understand that the words that you're saying are spreading hatred, because it then becomes accessible to the people that you're talking to understand that, oh, I can use the word gay whenever I want. They'll go. It's just like spreading, right? Like, so those people go and say it around those people, and those people go around saying, and then all of a sudden it becomes like, oh, I guess it's okay to say, but it's not, because it offends a ton of people. It's just that your group of people don't tend to be those people who get offended. So it might be harder for you when we say, hey, you shouldn't say that. It's like, well, I don't understand. I say it all the time. All my friends are okay with it. It was like, well, you're just one little section. There's pockets of people all over the country who take offense to that word. So if you don't mind, if you could like replace the word, that would be great. And like just be more respectful. Like,
Maybe just
I
do
don't
that
think it's that hard.
Okay. You know what's
Well,
funny?
no,
And we're not
it
talking about
makes
words that are
sense.
just like that guy's being a dummy. You know,
I
like
know,
yeah,
right.
we're not using words like that. Like
Yeah.
we're not referring to those kind of words.
Yeah.
Well,
Talking
and
about like
I-
what Steve said, those words that unsettle you, and you're just like,
Yeah,
ugh,
you're
it
just
feels
like-
wrong.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel right. Like,
I gotcha.
yeah,
Now, one thing I did want to settle here, though, Steven, I didn't say that about you. That was the Seattle Slam and Stud.
Oh,
that
that's
said that.
true. That's true.
Okay. I would never.
Might even buy you a
ever say that
taco.
to you.
I might even buy you a taco.
I said sell a taco.
And like
Sell
the-
you a
the-
I sell you a taco.
And like we've completely gone away from millennials, but like
Yeah.
the one last like I guess example that comes to mind is like the Redskins, and
Oh, the change in the name.
changing the name. But people are like, oh,
Yeah.
we're too politically correct. The Redskins are just about blah blah. Like, well, yeah, I mean, if a whole fucking like sect of people are like, look, this is offensive. Like, we
Yeah.
don't have white skins, we don't have black skins. Like, I think you should probably think about changing
and,
the name.
and when you listen to the argument that they have to make,
Yeah.
and I mean,
Like,
I'm part Native American, but not like full Native American. And if I was
So-
living life like that, I might, feel seriously offended. You know what I mean?
So
I
wait.
understand their argument. You know?
Well, can I
Like,
say
right,
one
fine.
thing then? Like, what do you guys think of like, you know, they have all black colleges.
Mm-hmm.
What if they had an all white college? Most people would think that was racist, right?
They already do have a lot of all-white colleges, pretty much.
Oh, they do?
Pretty much. I mean,
my
I would
bad.
say that they're not. Like,
I mean, well,
saying they're
technically
only all
saying-
white, you know. But
technically
neither are the
saying they're
all
all
black
white.
colleges either, though, bro. Like
Not
they don't
saying
say
all black
you won't
colleges?
take in a white person. I've seen white people inside of all black colleges here in Atlanta. Oh, and I'm not in Atlanta right now, but in Atlanta, you know. It tends to be. That.
And it's
not
different.
like they're not segregating us against races. That's not happening in college level. They're just saying, hey, you can. But the majority is obviously black. So I mean,
And-
if you want to come in here, hey, come on.
Right, and it
Not
doesn't matter,
advertised
Steve, because when
as
you have
like
the
all-
majority of if whatever the majority is, they are by default not they
Or that
they
they're not
talking
can't
about
you,
racism.
you can't be
They're saying
racism
racism
you can't be
against
racist to them. They are the majority, so minority. That's why the focus is on that, right? You
Because a minority can't suppress the majority.
Right.
Right. There's no power there, so there can't be. It's not an opposite thing. It's not a feeding thing.
I think Ice Cube said. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
anyway,
So-
we've lollygagged.
I don't know. Back on
Yeah.
millennials, though. Honestly, they're. I don't know.
Quit being
think
such
it's
a
just-
bitch, Rocco. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just an old mentality that's just kind of like.
It irks me,
Some
man.
of
It
it's
gets under my
starting to
skin.
like. It's starting to because there's one thing with us as people. I think we find this in generations like Ian was talking about the hippies and stuff, and the generation before that and whatnot. Is that people are difficult to change sometimes, and that perspective is like there's a lot of people changing in that generation, but there's a lot that are just like holding true to their realities and are feeling like threatened by things that are changing right now.
And
So they're fighting.
You nailed it. And I think if I can add onto it, because you're absolutely right, and I think they don't like change, right? They want to keep to what they know and what they're comfortable with, and their defensive response is, well, just man up, because this is the way, like, just be stronger, and like, just take it, get some thick skin. Yeah, okay, that's a really easy way to get away from a problem. Why don't you man up? Why don't you do the work to research about all the different cultures and all the different religions? And why don't you educate yourself and put the time in to make sure that you're respectful enough of other people instead of just resulting back to habitual, like, horrible language that is offending people? Why don't you man up and do the work? Because we're putting the work in right now to understand and be respectful, and that's a lot harder to do than just say, well, just deal with it and suppress it.
Well, and
Yeah.
just wait until we're older, and we are the older generation.
know.
We're gonna probably be saying what they're saying about them. Like, I can't believe these kids these days. They want A, B, C, and D. Okay, because
And now
they
there's
are
not.
different.
No, we
Yeah.
can't put everybody in the same baskets and stuff like that. Like I was saying,
No.
there's some in those generations that are making that change, and that they're
Oh,
willing
absolutely.
to adapt with the change, and they can do that.
No.
And then there's a lot that like to go against that stream of life, and those are the ones that have the issue right now.
And what's
those
even
are the ones that have the problem.
is there's millennials that are having this mentality of just have thicker skin. I'm just like, okay, all right.
It's like, what are you talking about, man? We have dual income households where husband and wife are working their asses off. Some of them have multiple jobs and
Yeah.
still are not being able to like thrive really well in this world. Like, fuck off. Because before it was
Working.
like one
We're-
job, one person could go to a job and work 40 hours a week, and they lived really nice fucking lives.
Yeah.
So like, don't sit here and give us bullshit. We're busting our asses. We have thick ass skin.
Right.
It is no easy task, and to act like we're just being some silly, bitches, like that drives me nuts.
I know. Yeah. It's like working all day and then being like, man, we really need to improve.
And
this
like, you're
problem.
entitled. You're entitled. What are you talking about? We're out here trying to get fucking jobs that are gonna be able to pay us to do what we want to do, and when we finally get these jobs, it's like still even then it's like
It's iffy.
we still have to have my wife has to work still though. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Or like we still can't go do all the different shit we want to do. Or
Let's not
like,
complaining, dude. Let's improve that. Let's
on
fix
top
that.
of
Right.
on top of those things like the education and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
we're talking about. So it's like a lot of that has puts a huge weight on us, and it suppresses us into like a debt slavery kind of deal.
Totally.
And no, man, that
Yeah.
like
Screw that noise.
yeah, screw that noise.
All right, let's move on to our next topic.
Trump 2017.
Shut.
Fuck you, Steve.
Fucking troll. Fucking troll. Okay.
Oh, on my face. Where's my
The
face?
next topic is, man, is it Rocco? Is it your
I
topic?
think it's me. Let's
Yeah.
do this. Okay, let's talk about the master plan, guys.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about Elon Musk's master plan?
Yeah, sure have.
Anybody
Tesla
else?
and stuff.
Yeah. Did you read anything about that recently? The article
Briefly.
that-
I haven't. Yeah.
Go ahead and
Okay.
give us the rundown on it.
Okay, so a few little tangents beforehand. Okay, we know we've brought up this guy quite a few times in his companies and things like that, and this guy really is like a huge role model for me. Okay,
Tesla
And
or
then-
Elon Musk?
now Elon Musk.
Okay.
So the one thing that I did recently is we talked about last week. You guys weren't here, but Clay mentioned a thing saying, Rocco, you're goal oriented, which is it's really true. That is how I am. We built a dream board the other day, right?
Yeah.
And this dream board's got a whole bunch of I know you can't really see it, but it's got a whole bunch of different things that we're like working towards, like goal oriented towards. You know what I mean? Giving us these images that says, okay, there's gonna be these little steps in between that we're gonna have to do to get to these big images. And during those days that are really terrible during those little steps, just keep focusing on the big image and remembering that's why you're working toward. That's what you're working towards,
Mm-hmm.
Well, Elon Musk released this article called The Master Plan, speaking about pretty much his dream board. It was a 10-year dream board that he had when he was creating Tesla. And what he spoke about was like how he had his goals like set up. Like, for example, one of them, the first goal was create a low volume car, which would necessarily be expensive. He wanted a very expensive car that he was going to produce, a sports car. And a lot of people were like, oh, he's just catering to the, to the rich people. He's just doing this because it just seemed so random to them. But if you were to see why he was doing the steps he was doing it so that he could accumulate a lot of money and be able to fund this whole program, this idea, this goal that he had himself, because he felt like there was a lot of risk that could happen to push it against from becoming a reality. Because we're talking about electric cars here, right? In a fossil fuel world, you're talking about like $100,000 electric car too on top of it. You're like, there's a lot of things that just like this could fall apart and not even work and be successful. So he wanted to take that money, create the $50,000 car, take that money to eventually create the very high volume car we can sell a lot of for $30,000. So he had these steps that he wanted to take to be able to get to where he's at kind of currently. He also worked on the same thing, not just with the Tesla Motors, but he did the same thing with Solar City, his company about trying to convert people over to solar panels. He said that he was wanting to like grow them to their own little stages until they can eventually become one merged company, because the idea and the intent is to move into sustainability, right? And we can't be thinking of them as like vehicle sustainability, houses sustainability. We just need to think everything sustainability, So his direction eventually is that he says, like, we have to move into a sustainable life, right? We know that fossil fuels eventually go away. We have a lot of data that shows that scientists say that higher, carbon carbon,
Output.
output is, whether it's the ocean or the air, it's causing some major issues right now. So why not push into the sustainable direction? Because obviously we want humanity to have a future, and we want it to be happy, right? So we need to start working in a direction now. He's pretty much forcing the hand. So he sold his company, PayPal, to start this whole goal process that eventually is working down towards every house, pretty much every car being electric and ran through solar, and then even being able to be capable of driving itself to eventually like remove health safety on the road. And I've even seen software that's working on trying to be prejudiced towards manual drivers, so that you can still do your manual driving, but the automatic driving cars would like go to the right lane and let you pass, or do something so that it kind of keeps them away and keeps them safe. I mean, moving into this direction, and this isn't his next 10-year plan. He's showing the next steps that he's going to be taking to do the whole merger that I was talking about in the direction of eventually getting everybody moving into this. So I guess my point really is just like speaking about a few different things. One guy is making a dramatic influence. It might turn the course of the future of the like United States right now.
The world,
in the world eventually, in his lifetime. You know what I mean? To think about that kind of power too as well. Like to think about.
If you really think about it, it's just his drive. It's him making this happen. It's a smart thing. So I mean, determined people can change the world.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, Clay, we were talking about a little bit briefly before about like how there's a lot of billionaires and businessmen and all this different stuff that are making these huge amounts of sums of money, but really aren't doing like what Elon Musk is doing.
Right.
They're not converting that. They're not taking that money and then converting it into how they're going to actually change the future of the world in a very positive way. Right. I mean, obviously, they're changing the world it might be in a selfish sense, but Elon Musk seems to be doing the complete opposite of that.
Which I think it's great to go solar, and I know that he's getting a lot of pushback too, as well, from major oil companies and everything. Because if you think about it, you start going away from that, companies, people's livelihoods will be gone. I mean, there's so much that relies on that one industry right there.
Job-wise.
Yeah. So I mean, and when you start having energy for free, you don't have power companies, you don't have gas stations, you don't have all these things. Yeah, so yes, it would be better for the world, in the long run, the health. Yeah, in the long run. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you did those roadways that they're talking about that can power entire cities and everything, they still have to have people to work on those. I'm sure that they won't last forever. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so then you start to generate people that can maintain them, work on them. It creates a whole new industry, which could eventually replace the other ones.
What do you guys think about that kind of lifestyle? So Ian, I know you drive a truck. You're coming out with an electric truck, and it's something I'm totally about right now. I mean, they're gonna have really good torque. It's gonna be able to charge itself up. I like this idea. I'm sure it'll be built up to look really sexy too. The Tesla's doing pretty good looking rides. Sexy. So I mean, what do you think about that idea? Do you think it'd be something you move in a direction of? Everybody actually too.
Yeah, of course. I mean, why not? Why not be able to A, save money, B, I mean, depending on the price of the item.
So I don't know exactly what the price of their pickup is going to be. Their low end, the ride's going to be the $30,000 SUV.
I think it would be great, to not have to waste and pollute. I mean, who really wants to do that kind of stuff? I don't drive the truck just because I'm
real
like,
man.
Hey,
real man.
I drive my truck because A, I love my truck, but B, I need it for if I need to move anything. I have trailers, and all of that. So I use it. I don't just own a truck just to have a truck,
Right.
So to sit there.
So he's moving into the direction of creating semis now too. They're creating semis. They're creating. They're working on buses that they're looking to release around 2018. Designs too as well for public and ground transportation. So it's like he's obviously taken. This is what's so beautiful to me, guys. It's just that goal, right? Those goal setups, right? That dream board page essentially. It's like we're now at the point where he's got these things where they're going into effect. Like where he's talking about. Any type of model of car that we have currently on the road right now, converting it over to an electric car and making it one that can drive by itself, two, it could be powered by itself and change the way the direction of like you were talking about, Ian, like how that heavy hand that the fossil fuels has in our entire society right now, and like kind of throwing them aside. That's going to be a big deal.
Well, and if you
but
think about this, I understand the electric car and everything, but they also have hydrogen powered on these engines that save fuel economy too. So that could be another avenue, which I knew a guy that owned a company that did that. And literally, you could just bring a semi up. I mean, granted, they had to do some work and add things in it and basically attach these. I would consider it a modification on a engine to double the fuel economy. And then think about that. That's crazy for like a semi and stuff like that, pumping through gas.
They did the same thing with grease.
Let me show you guys like what he had created here. So the ones I was telling you, so to create the low volume car, which would necessarily be expensive. Then 2, use that money to develop a medium volume car at a lower price. Then 3, use that money to create an affordable high volume car. And then finally 4, provide solar panel power. Sorry, a panel
to the car.
Solar power. Then he says, however, at this point, many of those things have already been achieved by Tesla. To the end, Musk has a list of notable updates. Although he goes into his ins and outs in some detail, the basics are the following. 1, create solar roofs with seamlessly integrated battery storage, which he's just recently created the new battery storage for homes, which is massive. 2, expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments, which is the 2018 release of the semi and the ground transportation. 3, develop a self-driving capability that is 10 times safer than the manual via massive fleet learning system. And then 4, enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it.
How's that?
If it has solar
if it's an
panels.
automatic driving car and you go to work, you can allow your car to go out and pretty much do Uber. Pick up somebody, drop them off, do whatever, and then come back and park itself wherever you want it to be, and it made money throughout that trip. And this is just a thought. I didn't exactly explain exactly how.
It also, if it has the capability of storing solar, it has solar panels on it. It can store solar energy, like your house battery.
Sell that energy.
You could sell the energy or use it. Yeah, I mean, it's step 1 of sustainable energy. It's really great. And then if you could, and like the next step is like food, which he is looking into. How do you make food generation cheap, free, and
I just
easy?
want to be the frickin' Elon Musk of the food side, dude. That's where I'm like trying to jump into that so fast and just go out there and be like, hey, man.
I mean, if he can
trying
do
to
it,
revolutionize the way that frickin' food's done, man. Let's do this thing.
You think about the 3D printing combined with free energy, combined with food. Like, I don't know what else you need at that point.
Yeah, exactly. You could build anything you want. That exactly what you just said is that I told you guys before, Jacques Fresco's idea of the future, right? When you look at that Venus project, I told you guys before, that Netflix video documentary. It's exactly that. It's like, it's just 3D printing, all these different things. It's like once you got all that going on, it's like you really then you don't need money almost at that point at that time.
It becomes entertainment needs.
It becomes
and like
only that's it.
Hospital
money becomes
needs.
no longer existent. That means the job is no longer necessary because you have all your needs met. You know what I mean?
So wait, you're telling me that I could go up to like a microwave looking thing and just press a button and a burger will come out?
Eventually, that would be like, that kind of technology would change anything because there would no
sound healthy
value
at all.
to a dollar bill, right?
Well, they are synthetically creating meat.
$1 dollar bills no longer has any value.
But I think Rocco is. I mean, so there's a couple points. Ian mentioned that, like, okay, what happens to all those people's jobs for gasoline and stuff, and then so you have that fallout.
You find other jobs. So like they've done things now. Like they got a program I just recently watched called Green Jobs, right? And they're like
new jobs open up.
You
because
could convert all those jobs into
new jobs open up.
Putting the solar panels on the roofs.
Yep.
Take all the car workers and make them put solar panels on the roofs and on the ground and all over and make solar farms, and there you go. You got all those
and
jobs.
They'll have
now.
upkeep on those, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's like I watched the documentary that was saying they were making more green jobs.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And in the communities that were, I guess you would say, more poverty level, and trying to get them back into the community and getting them jobs and getting them to something that's going to be like going to have a lot of years coming up ahead. You know,
and solar energy is great, but another thing I think that we need to tap more into is wind energy. I mean, wind is always going to be pretty much around, you know.
Water too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can do
Like
hydrogen energy because I mean, if you think about it, what's the whole purpose of? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't looked into this for years, but like a wave comes in and it can generate power, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's what
that's
I'm saying.
definitely
The
part. I think it.
water energy. Yeah.
I think wind is not as
Sufficient.
powerful and sufficient as.
From what I
solar?
understand, it's not in this area, not in the United
Yeah,
States.
right. It's in certain
Depends on
areas.
what location
Oh,
you
yeah.
are in the world.
And then the way to
you're gonna
get it
better.
is not as compact as a tiny little solar cell. It's you need a whole area that's very windy, and you need these giant things to come and catch the wind.
Right.
So
but,
over
I
the
mean,
span of like 5 years, I've seen so many different bits of like technology or that could be built or start to develop that would without a doubt be able to convert us over to 100% clean energy.
Yeah.
Like ones that had wind turbines in the middle of the ocean that did the wave turbine at the same time is like all these things that I've seen over the span of these years.
you can
that's
do it,
like,
absolutely,
if you
but there's
made
no
those
money
and you
in-
put them all over, then you could without a doubt.
well, so
move
that's what's great, and what I'm saying is, yeah, have the solar, have the wind, have the water, do all of it together because I don't know how it's all going to work, but I mean, I'm pretty sure with solar energy, if it's overcast out or it storms for days on days, does that
They're actually
hinder it?
making.
No, that's a myth.
Yeah.
By the way, So a lot
I
of people-
don't know. That's what I was asking.
So I've
That's
done a
what I
lot
was
of research into solar because
Okay.
I want to do a lot of solar. And that was one of the myths. There was that a lot of
Okay.
people believe that clouds hinder solar panel.
Okay.
It's
It
not-
doesn't completely hinder, but from what I
It will
understand,
reduce
Yeah.
it, but you still are going to accumulate.
but
enough
they're
energy.
looking at ways. Like I believe that they're developing ways to completely neutralize that fact. I mean, it's the same case that sometimes it can be very cloudy, but you can still get sunburned. Like
Yeah.
it's just a
Actually,
different-
yeah.
So
Well, yeah,
it-
because
it's
the
same
rays
mentality.
come in like it
They're
reflects
reflecting
down,
the
and
water.
it's
like a magnifying glass.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and I know they're getting around that as well. So the solar paneling is rapidly becoming more of a probability.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
Maybe taxi on that.
So, I mean, anyways, I just wanted to, keep you guys informed about that. Like, the one big thing, though, was like I was saying, was that just the, like, how awesome that was of how this guy just shows that he took 10 years to plan out an idea. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and everybody just sees it an overnight kind of thing because we're looking at it right here, right now. We've been caught up in the shit that we've been doing the past 10 years. But this guy's been
So-
focused on those intents for 10 years and has now created a company, like you were saying, Ian Drive and all that, a company now large enough to be able to influence the entire world at some point. You know what I
that's
mean?
awesome.
Like,
Alright,
that's
so, Rocco,
fucking awesome.
if Elon Musk came up to you and said, "I'm going to do an experiment. You have to live in a house. I'm going to build for you for 2 years," would you do it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I thought you
No
were going to say
questions
something
asked.
else. I was like,
No.
I was down.
yeah, I was waiting for something completely different.
I was
What?
expecting.
What?
Like Rocco, would you like to make
Yeah.
$100?
doing. I'm down.
All right, let's go on. Let's go on to our last topic. If that's cool.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's the final topic. My topic. It's going to be the Mandela Effect topic. I recently was listening to an article about this. Have you guys ever heard of the Mandela Effect?
You listened to an article?
Oh, I listened to a story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you. The Mandela Effect is a term for where a group of people all misremember the same detail, event, or physicality. It is named after the instance in which a large group of people all shared the same memory that Nelson Mandela died prior to his actual 2013 death, usually sometime in the 1980s. So a lot of people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. And then years later, he actually wasn't dead. He died in 2013. So they're like, wow, I remember this. Yes, I remember this as well. Oh, I also remember this. And there's like a bunch of people remembering this. And so they call it the Mandela Effect. And basically there's lots of cases of this where groups of people remember this stuff. And then it seemingly isn't true. And a lot of conspiracy theories, and I think this is fun. I don't necessarily think this is the true reason why. I have a more rational reason as to it, but it's fun to imagine that. But anyway, I imagine a lot of people actually believe that this is the rippling effects of time travel in the future. People are time traveling back and changing the timeline. So, and the effect essentially is this Mandela effect, where we remember this, but somewhere along the line, someone's changed the timeline, and so he actually didn't die in 2013, right? So there's a couple actually things that real quick we can talk about, but first, before I get into, I want to see if you guys, what you remember. And I've tried to find things. Do you guys remember the Bernstein Bears?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the Three Bears?
The country.
The Country Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember how they were spelled?
Oh, I'm terrible at it. English.
Oh, wait,
I
the bearing?
cannot
Bearing?
spell
It's
shit.
like BAR, isn't it?
Oh, B
was
R
spelled?
and
The title to the book?
Steen.
Or their name?
Was the Berenstain the Steen part Stein or Stain?
I before
S-T-E-I-N.
E, except after C.
E-I-N.
I
E-I-N.
think it was.
It was AIN,
Was it?
but a lot of people remember it being spelled EIN.
Huh.
So okay, Sex in the City, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Is it Sex in the City or Sex and the City?
Sex
I thought it was
in the
in.
city.
I thought it was in I-N.
I-N.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
end.
and-
Sex and the City.
And?
Sex and?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but a lot of people. Right, exactly.
Huh.
A lot of
Does it say
people
Sex
remembering
in the
Sex
City?
in the City, right?
Yeah.
The
Because there was a lot of Sex in the City.
What if this is like a Matrix thing, and it's just like if we all kind of think something, it's like
Who's Neo?
that's why we all kind of believe it.
Remember
maybe,
the
you
know
central
what I mean?
system, Rock? Remember the
Like if there was a
central- we're
bunch
all
of
on
people
the-
that believed like Mandela. Oh yeah, the 100 monkey theory.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I think you guys are trying to make me think this stuff
No.
to join you guys in this Mandela thing.
Exactly.
Okay, here's another one.
Because I mean, it's proof though, because me and Amber,
Conspiracy.
every time we go to Chipotle, you know, like everybody comes in right after.
Is it Chipotle or God's gift?
Fucking, where's your troll face?
Okay.
Steve?
I'm serious. I'm really serious. It always happens every time we go somewhere.
The what's the Disney
I'm not even
movie
kidding.
with the mirror, right? Where
Mirror,
it's
mirror on the wall.
Yeah. Okay. How is
Cinderella.
that said? How is that?
Or
phrase?
Snow White.
Yes.
Snow White, sorry.
How is that phrase said with the?
Mirror, mirror,
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
of them all.
It's actually magic mirror on the wall.
What?
Who's the
No, it's
fairest?
not.
Yeah, it's actually
I'm
magic
not-
mirror.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I
But
can't even
everybody
right now.
remembers it being mirror,
No.
mirror on the wall.
Yeah,
It
because
is
everyone the mirror, mirror on the wall. Oh wow, that's weird.
Magic mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
Imagine being the person that first started something like that.
Well,
like-
maybe it's because of Shrek. Because in Shrek he says mirror, mirror. on the
So
wall.
that's gonna get to my
Oh,
more,
yeah,
my more
maybe that's-
rational
yeah.
thought of this is that when something comes out, it's great. That's how it was done. But somewhere
It's
in the
older.
media or something like a Shrek, something that takes from it and builds on it for another like they misinterpret it or misspell it, and then that
kinda
gets
like-
spread to the masses, and then they just think that, right? So like an
It's-
article of Sex in the City probably came out, and everybody would be referring to it from that point, but it's always been Sex and the City, right?
It's kind of like that password game that you played in.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
I was always the person to change it. By the way.
You're a
It's like-
dick.
Could be.
So
You dick. You troll as a kid.
So
always the
in
person
Forrest
to-
Gump, is it what is the line about box of chocolates?
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna
What
get.
we're Yeah.
So it's actually Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Instead of life is.
So same thing.
Oh wow.
That's very different. It's very different.
No.
It is different.
no,
No.
it's not.
Mr. Rogers'
Uh,
neighborhood. He would always say it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's
Day in
beautiful.
the
And he'd wear
neighborhood.
the same damn sweater.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
Beautiful day.
Oh.
in this neighbor- Oh, it is.
I say we dig up Mr. Rogers and ask him because there's no way.
So yeah, and so like
Mr. Rogers
these are
isn't
just,
dead.
these
He
are some
died
just
in
like
1980.
some examples. Like there's a lot of things.
He's
Like
dead.
there's people who remember it being 52 states and not 50 states of America. Like they remember being taught in high school that there's 52 states, like
think-
not including Puerto Rico and things like that.
So there'd be 26
Well, it's kind of like
stars
it's kind
on
of
the
like
flag
Pokemon.
on each side.
Like, how does a Pokemon song go at the beginning?
I
I
have no
wanna
idea.
be the very.
No, it's actually
Don't
who's
wanna-
gonna be the very best.
Oh, Rocco.
Actually, that's what it's gonna be.
So
Who's
so
gonna be
right,
the-
yeah.
Your
Like,
life
is
has
it
just been
just because
crushed.
like our cultural like it's something like when you like proofread a friend's sentence and they write it a certain way, but it's written in a way that doesn't like just make sense phonetically when you speak. You might be reading it and then say it in your head as you would phonetically. So
Oh,
things
it's
like
kind of like when they spell it differently.
exactly
Like when
yeah.
you
So
do
it's
those things,
things like was and is and neighbor. Like it's so much easier to say mirror mirror on the wall. That sounds better, right? It's
Yeah.
the
The magic mirror.
than
on the
magic
wall.
mirror on the wall. So like there's things that we just like to hear better than what was originally written. Like Sex in the City sounds better
Or-
than Sex and the City, right? So I think people just gravitate to what they want to hear, and then again through the media that happens, that phenomenon, and you pick it up. a
Or
lot
is it
easier.
just the English language?
or time cops?
It's like
time cops are coming back and changing things.
Spell pudding. Like
Hey,
putting
I saw
something
this.
somewhere.
I saw this too. Where were they at? They were at what's his name? The boxer.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali, and they were in the back with the smartphone.
Clash Clay.
Saw this. I saw this. There's time travelers. Who had a smartphone back then? Nobody.
No, that was
Time
Tyson.
traveler.
That was Tyson, by the way.
No, it wasn't Tyson.
Yeah, I
It
think
was
it was
Tyson.
Mike Tyson fight.
I think
It
it
was
was
Mike
too.
Tyson fan.
I think it was too.
It was
But
Mike Tyson.
so Mike Tyson, who had a smartphone? Mike Tyson didn't have smartphones at the time.
Yeah.
Nope. No
Yeah.
smartphones. That's got
Hmm.
time traveler.
Hey, did Curious George have a tail or not?
He did not have a tail.
He did.
He did have no.
Int.
He didn't. No, he didn't.
He's never had a tail, yeah.
Man.
Huh.
That's
So
crazy.
again, you expect a monkey to have a tail. It's so like it's such a thing that you expect a monkey to have. So it's easy to like your brain to put a tail on him, right? But like it was never there. So I think it's more of like what our brains are really wanting. Like Jif peanut butter. Is it Jiffy or Jif?
It's Jif.
It's Jif Jif. Sorry.
Yeah, it was never called Jiffy, but there's a group of people that believe that it was called Jiffy at one time.
There isn't
Yeah.
there Jiffy Pops? I thought there was like a
Maybe,
Jiffy
and so
Pop.
that's the other thing is that things that like sounds like if there's a Jiffy Pops, that's one thing, right? But like they might
Yeah.
see that and like, oh yeah, no, it's Jiffy peanut butter because like they when two
Jif.
things conflict, they'll pick the easiest one, you know, like the thing that just sounds better.
Jiffy peanut butter?
So, yeah.
Doesn't sound good.
What Jif peanut butter?
I like it, but when
Crunchy
you
or
say it all
smooth?
together, it doesn't sound good.
Crunchy
I
or
like it
smooth?
whenever
Oh,
it's
crunchy.
Crunchy. Definitely crunchy.
no. What?
Get the
No.
fuck
Peanut
outta
butter,
here,
bro.
Ron.
Creamy,
No.
and honey. The honey creamy one too.
No.
All right,
The
well,
one
honey,
with the Peter Pan.
I
The
can
Peter
go
Pan
either
one
way.
with the honey and it's creamy, dude. Oh, it's so good.
No, crunchy.
No, there's a white chocolate peanut butter out there that's really good.
Not even no.
You say white?
White
And
chocolate.
this is all created by this is a Mandela effect right here.
Mandela Effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You totally thought that one was better, but it's not. The world belief is that, but really it's Peter Pan, honey creamy. He didn't die in 1980. He died in 2013. Steve,
Hey, Ian, I just want to ask you one question real quick.
don't do
Yes.
it.
What is a good age to start teaching my dog about sex?
You remember these?
2.5.
No, he wasn't here. He wasn't here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I
Wrong.
just thought it was interesting.
Is there any big major though Mandela effects that like are like?
There's
believed?
geography. There's people that
Yeah.
like North Korea apparently borders Russia, and a lot of people don't
What?
don't realize that.
That's-
As a lot of maps show, North Korea borders Russia.
I thought it
Okay,
was
here we
like,
go.
Like,
I'm gonna try to see if I can look something up real quick. I want to see some massive Mandela effect stuff. 50. Oh, that was a 51, 52 states. Dang. So many people. Jeez. So many people. Red, blue. Pepsi logo changes. Chevron logo changes. And other color
that's where
swaps.
I'm at. Yeah, it's really is like
Sky. TM, whatever it is. Square.
there's a famous West Wing episode too. If you guys go on Netflix's, you can stream all West Wing episodes.
I'm sorry.
In which
Ooh.
they show the geography of what the world really looks like, and why the maps look the way they do now is because it's pleasing to the eye. Also, America is very big in relation to everything else, but in reality, if you were to look at the true geography,
Oh yeah. Like Africa, the size of Africa
You would
versus
actually-
Oh,
like
it's
the way it
actually-
looks like
it can
on,
fit
on the actual
everybody.
maps.
It could
Yeah.
fit actually every other country inside of Africa. That's
Yeah.
how big it is.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
had no idea.
yeah, exactly, because
That it could do
again,
that.
we do things that like please our eyes, which is really like deceptive, and it gives you this mentality. Like Australia is really not that big, honestly.
I got-
Like America is tiny compared to South America and like you said, Africa. So like, yeah, it's really interesting, and like the way Africa is stretched out so long as opposed to America that's really tiny up here. It's like, and then I believe actually it's upside down. Like we look at it like we
No, the
look at
Earth's
Canada
flat,
than
bro.
America, but really it's upside down where America's
flat.
at the bottom and Africa goes up.
I think that's the
Earth
same.
is flat.
That's the truth too, and I think that we're cut in half and we're rolling around in spiraling circles.
That makes no
Yes.
sense.
Earth. Yeah, the Earth.
All right, I got one.
And I think the
how
Earth is
about-
flat.
It's
What's
flat.
your guys' favorite What's your guys' favorite fast food place that's closed on Sundays? Clay, you can't answer this because I don't. think
Chick-fil-A.
Okay, you said it
I like
right.
Chick-fil-A.
Because you guys always say Chick-fil-A. I always say chicken fillet.
Chicken
No,
fillet?
dude, it's Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I always say chicken fillet. I always
Okay.
call it chick-a-flicka too.
Don't
I
call
say
it
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. They will never know what you're
Jesus.
talking about.
chick-flicka.
Go get a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I
But
bet
that
you
was
they'll-
that was
they-
apparently one of them right there.
Go
People say
chick-a-flick
chicken
yourself.
fillet.
All right, real quick before we end, if you can
Yeah.
change one thing in time, what would it be? If we can have a Mandela effect, right? If you can go back in time and change something, what would it be? It doesn't have to be like,
George
kill
Bush.
Hitler, but something goofy.
Something goofy?
Yeah.
Oof. Pokemon.
So you go back and show people Pokemon? That would be crazy. Could you imagine like George Washington having portraits of him playing Pokemon Go? Or just being really into Pokemon?
Oh, so if you're saying like, if we can go back in time, we would show them something or tell
show them
something?
something, do something.
Okay.
Oh, go back in time? Oh,
Yeah.
dang. Rocco's peering out the window.
I'm just trying to think, man. This is a big
This is
deal
a
here.
deep question, man.
Maybe
I would
maybe it's
go-
so
so much
deep
stuff-
then. I just wanted
Why
quick
don't you
answers.
Why don't you start? Why don't you start off with it? Quick.
Yeah,
I just
I
wanna
don't
say-
know. I think I would bring like a laptop or something. I would bring like League of Legends or
bring
like
something back?
Halo and be like, yo, let's play some. Pick up your sticks, Washington. Pick up your sticks. Let's play
Yeah,
this.
right.
Washington.
I'd go back in time to my parents and be like, look what you guys create, the fucking awesomest thing in the world.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Guys, I've already went
Mandela
back
Effect.
in time. I've already went back in time,
You
and
did.
I made them like, yeah. I showed them the pet rock, and everyone went crazy for it.
And
I would secretly sneak on to the first Apollo mission that was going to land on the moon.
Oh my
No,
God.
I wouldn't do that.
would
You never
sneak
want to
on
be the first
without
person
any.
or the seventh.
No,
equipment
Sneak
and then
on
die.
with the shit. though.
He would
okay.
screw up and accidentally go on the one that explodes.
Like, did it
Rocco
really
would sneak,
does it really
He's like, oh, this is the wrong one.
Rocco would sneak on the ship, dress up as an alien, just be there, and be like, nah. Just-
super fun.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Future.
We're gonna end that here.
like, hey, what's up, guys? You guys on Facebook?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks
Show
for
'em.
joining us on another episode of Everything and Nothing. We really appreciate it. Have you here today. Listen to us. Remember, all of these topics are their own separate videos on YouTube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel, Monday through Friday, topic by topic, and then the full episode with all the topics are available to you on Saturday. Be sure to check us out on Patreon to give us as little as $1. It's super helpful. We really appreciate it, and all the free ways that you can support us as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Comment, like, subscribe, and share. Super helpful.
Super.
Next week, we'll have another episode for you. In the meantime, keep thinking about everything and nothing. It's been an honor to entertain you. Peace. Take care.
Adios.
Adios. Deuces.